Who's that robot? It's Cited. It's Bike Robo! Oh man! Wait, what? Hello and welcome to another episode of Cartoon Breakdown. I'm your host, the Animator. The thing about toys is if it's popular, there are cheap knockoffs that come out as a result of companies trying to capitalize on parents wanting to save money. This is a practice that has been around since the early days of children playing with toys. I myself used to have toys that were cheap knockoffs of original shows, mostly because my parents couldn't afford the real toys. So it should come as no surprise that the Transformers had a knockoff toy line made from them known as the GoBots. Or should I say the Transformers is the knockoff of GoBots? Let me explain. GoBots was a toy line that first released in 1982, beating the Transformers by at least 2 years. It was released by a company known as Poppy, a division of Bandai. Much like the toys that the original Transformers were created from, they were also cars and planes and other types of automobiles that would transform into robots. The original name for the toy line was Machine Robo, and it was later adopted by Tonka in 1983 and licensed under the name GoBots. The interesting thing about this is that both GoBots and Machine Robo have the same toys, so some of the characters were similar. However, in the American adaptation produced by Hanna-Barbera, some of the names were changed as well as some of the affiliations of the different characters. For example, instead of Eagle Robo, you had Leader 1, and instead of Bike Robo, you had Cited. On the original Machine Robo, the GoBots' original home planet was called Kronos, and none of the GoBots were bad, they were all on the same side. They happened to be in conflict with a group called the Giandler, who invaded their homeworld in search of a mystical energy known as Hyperbeam. When Tonka licensed Machine Robo, they wanted a cartoon to support their toy line, and so the decision was made to hire Hanna-Barbera to produce the cartoon. The series produced for Tonka had the world of the GoBots renamed Gobotron, and there were 2 different factions, the Guardians, led by Leader 1, and the Renegades, led by Cited. The reason for including Earth in the series is that Cited wanted to create a renegade base on Earth. He also wanted to enslave humanity, because of course he did. This is the latest turn of events in a centuries-long war that started back when the planet had organic life similar to Earth. This actually has a premise of being an interesting idea, as the thought of a war waging for so long on a planet the human-like inhabitants have to transplant their brains into robotic bodies in order to continue the fight. The show focused on a small group from each side as the main characters. For the Guardians, you had Leader 1, voiced by Lou Richards, Turbo, voiced by Arthur Burghardt, and Scooter, voiced by Frank Welker. And on the Renegade side, you had Cited, voiced by Bernard Earhart, Crasher, voiced by Marilyn Lightstone, and finishing him out, Copter, who is voiced by Bob Holt, later voiced by Arthur Burghardt. Another thing of note is that Crasher was a female GoBot, and she beat RC by 3 years. The series got its start with a 5-part episode miniseries that aired in 1984. The title for the episode's arc was Battle for Gobotron. A full set of 60 episodes were made to give the series 65 episodes so that the show could run in syndication. The additional 60 episodes started to air in September of 1985 and ran until December of that year. The series was not renewed for a second season. I remember watching this show as a kid, and I loved every moment of it. Watching some of the episodes as an adult today, not so much. The idea of the GoBots is a fascinating one, and in recent years, the show has gotten more attention as the original machine Robo has started coming out with master versions of all of their toys in much the same way as the Transformers is doing. For the longest time, I thought that the GoBots was a discount Transformers, and imagine my surprise when I found out they had beaten the Transformers to the punch a whole year earlier. I know I joked in my last episode about Hasbro copying Tonka and creating the Transformers as a series of toys, but I don't think that's how it happened. It was just two toy lines coming up with the same idea at practically the same time. If this was your first episode, thank you for sticking with me, and if you liked what you saw, you can check out my channel and watch more of my videos and subscribe to get the latest videos as they come out. And remember, I'm your host, and this was Cartoon Breakdown.
Soon, all the world's source of energy is going to be mine. What do you want?
I just want to be your friend.
What's wrong with your voice? Why does it sound so weird?
Me sound weird. Have you heard yourself lately?